I remember seeing commercials of this show, and I was thinking to myself, a random ass show placed in Japan by FX. Yeah, this is about to be a flop. Boy, was I wrong. I think I'm in love with the show, not Anna Swai. But to be honest, I might be in love with her too. It's been a while since I've liked the show this much. Every week I'm looking forward to Tuesday for the next episode to be released. I wanted to make a video glazing this show after the first 2 episodes dropped, but I had to wait a little longer just to make sure the show wasn't gonna sell. It could still sell because it's not over yet, but of how the story is going and how the quality has been, I have full confidence that this show is not gonna leave us disappointed. If you have not watched Shogun, you are missing out. In my opinion so far, it is one of the best shows we've had in a while. It has a rating of a 99% on Rotten Tomato with a 93% audience score. It also has a 9.1 out of 10 from IMDb. The only negative thing I've heard is people were complaining about that there is no black people in 16th century Japan. Do I really need to explain why that's dumb? I will not let this dumbass shit ruin this show for me. Shogun is set in a time where Japan is ruled by 5 councilmen. Just like all my other videos, I will not be trying to pronounce anyone's names because I'm not trying to get flamed. I can't think of nicknames I could give these dudes that aren't racist, so I have no idea how this video is going to go. I might get banned from YouTube. Guys, I'm not racist. I like Chinese food.
Yep, you're banned. Have a good night.
The 5 council members, they all seem to be on the same page, except for one. Lord Yoshi Lord Yoshi seems to be the odd one out, and he is the leader of the main group we follow in this show. They are basically the good guys and the rest of them are the bad guys. Lord Yoshi senses that the council is going in a direction that he does not want to go, and he could get voted to be put to death. So sensing that, he resigns from the council and leaves the capital. Lord Yoshi isn't the main character. I would definitely say the 2 main characters are John and fuck! The 2 main characters are John and the love of my life. We're going with that. John is from England, and he is a pirate that got caught by the Japanese. He is basically a well-treated prisoner because he can't leave and is forced to teach everyone how to use the cannons he had on his ship. The thing with the cannons is they turn into the most OP weapons when placed in the 16th century Japan. Japan at this time was still using swords and bows and arrows. Like, what is a sword gonna do against a cannonball heading straight towards you with high speeds? This show is proving my point that I've always brought up. Not in my videos, but just around the people I know. If you went back in time with an automatic weapon, it's actually over. You can take over the world with that bitch. Imagine pulling up to a samurai battlefield with a fully loaded automatic weapon. You can just air that bitch out and you're going to have the greatest kill streak of all time. You are easily dropping a nuke. John, even though he is getting treated well, little by little he's starting to realize how intense the Japanese culture was at this time. They have very strict rules, and honor is the most important thing, even over living itself. John is from England, and he values living over honor. And seeing how the Japanese people act when the choice of honor or living comes up, and how they choose honor every time, freaks him out. There was a time John put a dead bird hanging in the front of his house, and sarcastically he said to his servants, "If anyone takes this down, you will die." But the servants took that as a literal statement. A couple of days go by and the bird starts to sink, and John kind of forgot about it. But the servants start to complain to each other that the smell is becoming unbearable. So one of them takes one for the team and takes the bird down. The problem is they took John's statement literally. So taking the bird down would be an act of disrespect towards John and his household. So the other servants put that man to death for taking the bird down. John comes home and is told the news, and he freaks out. He was like, "What is wrong with you people? I didn't mean that seriously, and you guys put a guy to death because of a bird." It just shows how their culture was at that time. If I was there, I would be freaking the fuck out. I would be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. John thought the same thing, and he starts to ask over and over again for permission to leave Japan. But Lord Yoshi ain't having none of that. Lord Yoshi needs John to take lead of the cannons because he is at war with the other council members. If this show is going to have a second season, I would guess John will go back to England at the end of this season. But if this show is just going to be one season, I would bet my money that this show ends with John going back to England. I'm pretty sure there isn't supposed to be a second season, but of how popular and well received this show is, I wouldn't put it past Hollywood that there will be a second season. Now to the love of my life. She is a great character. I think she is very balanced, but she is kind of getting tipped over to the side of being a Mary Sue, where she can just do everything and her only flaw is that she holds herself back. It's not annoying like Captain Marvel, so I'm okay with it, but it's definitely something to watch for the rest of the show. We don't know the full story of her past yet, but of what we do know is that she's been going through a lot and she just had to survive. The things that happened to her in her past turned her into this cold person, and her husband says she asks for death all the time, which is pretty sad. But John seems to bring some light and happiness back to her. The problem is, like I said, she has a husband, and her husband was thought to be dead, so she moved on and slept with John. But it turned out that her husband is actually alive. This complicates things because she definitely has feelings for John, but hey, her husband is alive, so she can't be with John. It is the classic love triangle, and I think this show does it great. We're 6 episodes in, and I'm loving it so far. How are you guys liking this show? The last episode ended with Lord Yoshi's decision to storm the capital and take it over. This show has 4 more episodes left. I have 2 things that aren't bad, and it's 100% just a personal problem, so I don't take points away from this show. But the first thing is, I don't know Japanese, and I do not like reading subtitles. It's just annoying, but I would definitely say it's the right call for this show to actually speak Japanese, to keep the authenticity of Japanese culture. And it's a big part of John and the love of my life's relationship is that she is his translator. It wouldn't really make sense for her to translate for him if we're hearing English. It is still annoying, for me at least, to read subtitles, but you know, it's just a personal problem. The other thing I don't like is that the show is coming out 1 episode per week. I 100% like when a show just puts it all out right away and I can just binge watch it. But what do I know? I'm just a guy in his parents' attic.